Alright, so a slight disclaimer, this part of the video is going to be a lot longer. I think it was originally 26 minutes, but I cut it down to this much because I just got rid of a bunch of side content that I didn't feel fit in the video anymore, like the underground exploration or the hunting system. Connor walks into the funeral of Hatham plain as day, and gets captured by Lee's mercenaries. Lee has Connor taken away, which honestly, bad idea, man, as Connor escapes and comes after the man he has hunted for years. Before one of the mercenaries bleeds out, Connor asks where Lee is gone, and finds that he's gone to catch a ferry at the docks. Upon boarding the ship and eavesdropping, he finds that Lee intends to buy slaves to fill his mercenary forces, and in 2 days he'll be at the Green Dragon Tavern to finish the transaction. When Connor goes to the Green Dragon, Lee isn't there, and finds that Lee is at the harbor, attempting to flee the country. Connor chases him away from the harbor, which leads them into a burning ship, where Connor gets run through by a piece of wood when part of the boat collapses. But he's able to shoot Lee before he passes out. When he comes to, he finds a civilian on the pier that tells him that Lee headed inland, and he offers to give Connor passage as well. To finish off their feud, the two sit at a tavern, where they share a drink before Connor stabs Lee, taking the key as well before heading back to his village. He finds the village abandoned, and the glass apple of Eden out in the open, wondering why they left it behind. He picks it up and is given another vision. Juno commends Connor, but gives him one last demand: hide the amulet where none may find it. Connor goes back to the homestead and hides the key in the grave of Achilles' son, Connor Davenport. Desmond comes out of the Animus and goes to the grave that holds the key, then head back to the tower, ready to use it. Desmond inserts the key and heads across the bridge to find a device that is revealed that if Desmond touches it, he will die, and Juno will be released. And she will save the world from becoming covered in lava and fire. However, if he doesn't, the world will not be destroyed, but hindered, and Desmond will rebuild the world, and the cycle of hatred and pain will continue. Desmond touches it, and Juno does stop the world from its fate, but now aims to control it for herself. I find it hilarious that they finally develop Desmond's character, but then kill him off in the same game, since Desmond was just a tool for the real story in the last few games. Nothing more, nothing less. You unlock the Benedict Arnold missions after Sequence 8, but they happen between Sequences 10 and 11, so I'd recommend waiting to do them till then. Washington calls upon Connor, who is still infuriated with the man, though Washington explains of a plot to kill Major Benedict Arnold, and that his death would be a devastating blow to morale, and could quite possibly cripple their troops. Connor agrees to help, but tells Washington to never call on him again. Connor kills the spy inside the fort, where Arnold asks why he killed him. Connor tells him about the plot against his life, and that he was protecting him. Arnold then sends Connor off to escort his men on a munitions run. Upon delivering the goods to the nearby camp, we find that there's a traitor who didn't get on the ship as he was ordered, and Connor escorts him back to his commanding officer. Arnold tells Connor that he believes there's another spy, and has Connor do manual labor while trying to root out who it is. But after doing the work, Connor finds Arnold and John Anderson sneaking around talking about compensation. Connor then follows Anderson and finds that his real name is Andre, and that he's actually a Redcoat Major. Andre is captured by a group of patriots, and Connor tells them to take him to General Washington, and that he will take care of Arnold. Connor confronts Arnold about the letter, which states the guarantee of the surrender of Half Point, for the sum of 20,000 pounds. But the Redcoats show up seconds later, and Connor is forced to defend the fort rather than chase after Arnold, who escapes on a ship. Washington commends Connor for his work, but muses that who can they trust if even Patriot heroes would betray them, to which Connor retorts,
"You reap what you sow."
I really like this DLC. It may be a bit short, but it does allow Connor to vent his frustrations toward Washington a bit more, and really drive in the message that he screwed up big time. This DLC happens in an alternate timeline where George Washington became king. You can access this at any time from the main screen. I would recommend playing it after the main story, as Connor talks about events that happen in the main game, so beware spoilers if you play this before beating the game. The DLC begins with Connor still having the memories of his actual adventure throughout the game, but even he notices the differences here. Firstly, he's in a more primal sort of outfit, his mother is still alive, and George Washington is a king. Connor goes with his mother, and together, they save a native woman and learn why Washington is attacking them. They're looking for Connor's mother, as she tried to steal the apple from Washington, and now he wants her dead. They find that Washington is attacking Concord, and go to save the people. After saving a church full of people from being burned alive, the town is shelled by cannons, so Connor and his mother mobilize to neutralize the operators of destruction. You then go through the worst bout of cannon combat, as you have to stop all soldiers from getting through while also being shot. But of course, it's a cannon, so it takes forever to load. After this, we have to learn how to min-max our run so we can kill all the runners who want to light our powder stores and blow them up. If any of them even so much as touch the fuse, we fail the optional objectives. And yes, I know they say optional, but they aren't to a completionist such as myself. This first mission made me hate the DLC, and that feeling stuck around the whole way, as all the optional objectives are just as much of a pain. Connor and his mother escape back to the village to tell them that Washington is coming. But it ends up that they already know, and that the clan mother is sending people out to gather willow bows so they can make tea from them to boost their strength. But the tea has the side effect of making you insane as well. We learn that Hatham left something for Connor a long time ago, before he died. I want to know exactly what led to all these changes. When did Washington get the apple if all of this has changed? The gift that his father left for him was a set of hidden blades, but the main difference is that Hatham seems to be an assassin at his death. Washington and his armies storm the camp and kill Connor's mother, and then Connor, as he has no way of defending against the apple's attacks. He's shot multiple times, then stabbed and shot once more, bleeding out mere inches away from his mother's corpse. Though Connor didn't die. He was saved by the clan mother and the others who drank of the tea, and they push him to do the same, so he may join them in their enhancement. Connor climbs to the top of the willow and drinks the tea, leading to a rather odd drug trip. During this trip, though, Connor gains the ability to go invisible, and also seems more bloodthirsty than before. There was another hidden ability to Connor's new powers. He's able to call a pack of spirit wolves. Connor returns to the clan leader to get more instructions on how he can help, though when he reaches the cave that they're hiding in, he finds most of his people slain, and the leader mortally wounded. She tells him to hunt down Benedict Arnold, as he was the one who did this to them, and then go after Washington to stop his tyranny. Connor goes to a nearby camp, and finds the whereabouts of Putnam. He infiltrates the camp that Putnam is in, and follows him to Arnold, who, once free of the control of the apple, tells Connor to seek out Benjamin Franklin in Boston. But first he'll have to free him as well. Once the life is drained from Arnold's body, Putnam sneaks up behind him and knocks him out with a pistol whip. When Connor comes to, he's bound and in a cart, with Putnam jeering at him, telling him about his plan to hand Connor over to Washington, and surely he'll give control over Boston to him, after casting out Benjamin Franklin. Putnam displays Connor to King Washington, and he is indeed impressed. Benjamin Franklin is also caught a native that was working with Sam Adams, which ends up being Connor's childhood friend, and they work together to escape the prison. But before they leave, Connor drinks the tea again to gain a new ability. He gains the powers of an eagle, with the ability to fly. This ability is my absolute favorite, as it's just a fast way of moving around, and also escape from pursuers. It has so much utility to it as well, that it just makes it really fun to use. Connor and his friend escape, and Connor chases down Franklin and snaps him out of George's control for a second, before Washington himself interrupts the deathbed talk. When Connor comes to, he meets up with Sam Adams, who sends Connor after Franklin. Although this time Connor is successful in breaking Franklin free. While Connor gathers a specific medal for Franklin, Adams and his group walk into a trap and are killed. Connor and Franklin go to find Mr. Faulkner and get the Aquila back from Washington's troops, which they of course do without a hitch. Oh wait, one thing, Connor's friend was captured in the attack earlier, not killed, and Connor kills Putnam to save him. And of course, after coming out of the apple's influence, he regrets what he's done, but dies before saying much else. The next chapter brings us onto the Aquila as we head to New York to take out Washington, who's building a pyramid for himself. Connor and crew take out Washington's armada, but lose their cannons before destroying the man-of-war. So of course, we ram it. Franklin makes it to shore and is met face to face with Washington, who goes to kill him with his scepter, when he is tackled off by Connor's childhood friend. He almost kills him, but is shot to death mere moments beforehand. Connor then drinks of the tea yet again to gain another ability. This time he gets the power of the bear, which allows him a large damage AoE to destroy those who would dare surround him. Connor goes to save Thomas Jefferson in his rebellion, while using his newfound ability to turn the tide. After the rescue, Jefferson sends Connor to liberate some food from a nearby storehouse, in order to rally the people. After this, Connor stirs up some civil unrest to get the whole city rebelling against Washington. Once this is done, he slips into the pyramid, following the path his mother took to get out. Connor finds Washington on top of the pyramid, and the two fight, eventually leading to Connor breaking the stained glass platform that they battle on. He is successful in his mission to kill Washington, and as he touches the apple, We're pulled out to Washington and Connor near a campfire. Everything back to normal. The entire DLC was a vision into how things could go should Washington be granted the power of the apple. At least as long as Connor still stands. I loved the story this DLC told, but I hated the side objectives that felt as though you had to be pin perfect at all times. The combat looks and works mostly the same, with some minor differences. They remapped a few of the buttons, and while that may not seem like a major issue, when you've been playing through all the games in quick succession, it does indeed make a difference. We still have kill chains, but something feels different about the combat, and I can't quite put my finger on it. Screw it. Let's talk about the new things I can put my finger on. First and foremost, we no longer have a hidden gun. Rather, we have pistols and bows, with a new ability called Reflex Shot, which can be used to quickly dispatch a target with your ranged weapon. We have a new weapon called the Rope Dart, which can be used to strangle an enemy by holding the button, or hang them by jumping off your vantage point. There are hostile animals throughout the game now, which you have to do a QuickTime event for in order to not get absolutely shredded to pieces. Honestly though, I may not be able to tell what exactly was changed with the basic combat, but I definitely feel the changes and welcome them wholeheartedly, making this my favorite combat in Assassin's Creed up to this point. The beginning of the rest of the series started here, and we have to talk about its humble beginnings. The naval gameplay here is altogether rather good. The boat is responsive, although for more turning capabilities you have to slow the ship down. But it's not a bad thing when trying to avoid hitting rocks or trying to re-angle yourself during combat. By the way, the naval combat itself is an absolute treat, as you can either hold down the right trigger to fire in a general direction based off the side you started up on, or hold down the left trigger and try to release it when the reticle turns red to instantly destroy smaller ships. Of course, you'll find yourself taking fire, so to counteract that, simply brace for impact to mitigate damage. They updated the parkour system to only use one button, the right trigger, plus a direction to move, of course. They now call it the free running system, which allows you to vault over fences, under fences, through laundry, whatever. It makes movement and escapes much faster. On top of this, we can now do parkour on trees, since Connor's a native, and honestly, it's a pretty fun system that's much different from the regular parkour we're used to, being mostly from building to building. Just mind that you don't recreate this scene. Unlike the previous Assassin's Creed games, we aren't given armor to raise our health. It's set from the beginning. So be careful or be dead. However, we do still get to customize ourselves. And interestingly enough, it's not just recoloring our garb, but we can actually get different outfits. While some may look a bit more similar to other pieces, it is still a nice touch that everything about the outfits changes. I have to mention that I'm playing the remaster, as you do get assassin garb from games later on in the series through the Ubisoft Club. I really like how they do the customization here, and it makes me excited to work through the series further. So, with my whole spiel being said, and with this video being much longer than I anticipated, we reached the end. This game was by far my favorite up to this point, and honestly, I can't wait to play Black Flag as well. So what's my final verdict on the game? I give it a 10 out of 10, but I'd give the King Washington DLC an 8 out of 10, as I loved the new powers, but found myself upset with the optional objectives way too frequently.